Welcome back, second grade. This is our Wit and Wisdom lesson for Tuesday, April 7th. We have a lot to do today. Hopefully you remember what we talked about yesterday. We started looking at the books that are in our new module. We read a little bit of our first book. So today we have some more exciting books to read that go with our module. So let's jump right in. I don't want to waste any time chatting today. Let's get moving right ahead. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you the PowerPoint for today so you can follow along with me. Let's get our brains ready to learn. So let's start off as usual. Let's make sure that we are ready to think and learn. So let's take a deep breath. Make sure you're comfortable, that you're ready to think, that you're ready to share your ideas with your learning partner, that you can try and stay focused. If you can't and you're having a hard time focusing and you need a break, you can pause the video and stand up and stretch and take a little break and come back to your learning. But I want you to make sure that you are focused for the entire lesson. And that, as always, you're looking forward to what we have to learn today. This module is going to be a lot of fun, so hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I think that I will. What do you need for today? So quiet space to concentrate. Make sure you're in a space away from any distractions so that you can focus on what we're learning. You're going to need your paper and your pencil, your blue Wit and Wisdom book. If your parents picked it up, you may have it. It looks like this. It has some cakes on the front of it. If you don't have it, we will show pictures of the pages and they're not too complicated, so you should be able to easily just draw them in your notebook or on a piece of paper if you don't have your notebook with you. A learning partner, so you need someone with you to help you with technology and someone to discuss your work with you. It's hard to do some of this without having somebody to chat with a little bit about your ideas. I wish that I could be there with you to hear what you're saying. I know everybody always has such good ideas and you keep me on my toes every day. And I'm really missing that. I miss all of you so much and I wish we were together. If you need any of these things, pause the video and go grab your supplies before we begin. Okay, some of the things that you'll be able to do after our lesson today. We are going to examine 3 pieces of visual artwork. So 3 pieces of artwork that go with our books that we are reading in this module. We're going to expand your vocabulary with some text-specific words. Ooh, some of you in my classroom, and I'm sure in the other rooms, have heard your teachers many times tell you to make sure that you use text-specific vocabulary when you are writing. So words that are specific to what we are working on. So you're using language that goes with our books and our modules. Read a short story and analyze its parts. And write about what you hope to learn in this module. All right, we're still thinking about how does food nourish us? So this is our big question we're thinking about for the entire module this next 8 weeks, I guess, this next 8 weeks. We're going to be working on this question. How does food nourish us? If you did not get this word that we nourish written down in your vocabulary journal yesterday, make sure that you pause the video and take just a moment. Think about if you can remember, what does nourish mean? It has something to do with food. If you know it, give me a thumbs up. I bet most of you have your thumbs up. Turn to your learning partner and tell them, what do you think nourish meant? If you can remember that. I bet that you said something like it is the food that we have to help us live and grow and stay healthy. So when we have food, it helps us live, grow, and stay healthy. Okay. As we watch this next short video, I want you to think about which piece of this artwork do you like the best and why? The lady in the video is going to show us 3 pieces of artwork, and I want to see which one you like the best and why. Let's see. I'm going to start the video and close my box out so I am not in your way.
You are now going to examine artwork, one piece at a time. I'm going to show you each piece of artwork, but not give you any additional information right away. As I show you each piece, starting with the piece you see currently on the screen, I want you to pause the video for a few moments while you really examine the piece of art. Remember, examine means to look closely. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video for a few moments and examine or look closely at each piece of art. Let's start with the piece of art you now see on your screen. Pause the video and examine or look closely at the piece of art. This is our second piece of art. Please pause the video for a few moments and examine or look closely at this second piece of art. And finally, we've reached our third piece of art. Please pause the video and examine or look closely at this third piece of art. Now that you have looked at each piece of artwork individually, they are now all displayed on the screen. I want you to think about your opinion of these 3 pieces. Specifically, think about which piece of art you like the best and why. If you have a learning partner available, please pause the video and share your opinion about which piece you like the best and why now.
Scholars, once you have shared with your learning partner which piece of artwork you like the best, I would like for you to write your answer in your journal. So write your answer. Which piece of art do you like the best and why? Remember to use a complete sentence. So you might start out something like, I like the sandwich artwork the best because it looks like a juicy hamburger I might have for lunch. That was my idea. I'm sure you will have your own great ideas to write about the artwork. Just take a few moments. Don't spend a lot of time on it, maybe just a minute or 2.
You will have more opportunities to view and think about your opinions on all 3 pieces of art in this module. While you all might have different favorite foods and have chosen a different piece of art for the one you like the best, one thing we all have in common is our digestive system. At the beginning of lesson 1, we saw the cover for the digestive system, which you also see on your screen now. I am now going to read aloud a page from this text. This is from chapter 1. The chapter title is, It's a Gas. You're having lunch with your grandparents. You're on your best behavior. But as you sip your soda, your stomach starts to feel strange. It feels very full. It aches. Then the worst possible thing happens. You belch loudly. Embarrassed? Probably, but don't feel too bad. It's your digestive system in action, and it's normal. Everyone belches. I'm going to repeat this line. It's your digestive system in action, and it's normal. Learning about how foods nourish us requires understanding about what happens to food when it enters your body. You will explore the meaning of digestive system to help you build your knowledge of what happens to food as it enters the body. Think about the word system. Here's the word system on the front cover. Now think about, where have you heard the word system before? Take a few moments to think about where you've heard the word system. We wrote the word nourish in the definition earlier during lesson 1, and now you will write the word system in the definition. The word system is a word in definition we should write down because it is a word that is important not only to this module, but to our everyday life. Here's the word system, and here's the definition: a group of parts that work together. Pause the video now and write the word system and the meaning of the word system so we can make sure we can refer to it in later lessons. Please pause the video now to write the word and the meaning of system. Let's look back at the cover of the digestive system. I am going to cover up a part of the word digestive. When I covered up the IVE for just a moment, and you'll see how I did that here, we know we now have the word digest. With your learning partner, I would like you to discuss, what clues does this entire front cover give us about the meaning of the word digest? Pause the video now to look at the cover and discuss what clues on the front cover give us the meaning of the word digest. I wish I could hear your discussion with your learning partner, but now I'm going to tell you a few clues I saw on the front cover about the word digest. I see here on the front cover, it says a group of organs break down or digest. It then says it digests food for the body. Since organs digest food for the body, I'm thinking digest is something the body does. Here's the definition of the word digest. Digest is here, and the definition or meaning is to break down food into materials the body can use. That actually sounds really similar to our thinking when we looked at the front cover just a few moments ago. Please pause the video now and write down the word digest and the meaning or definition to break down food into materials the body can use. The verb, which is what this V stands for, digest, is also linked to the adjective digestive. Digestive is an adjective or a word that describes, related to the word discuss. Using what you know about the word discussed, what might the word digestive mean? Now, use what we've been talking about and thinking about in terms of the word digest, and see if your initial thoughts about what you're thinking about digestive and what it means has shifted. Think about what we talked about, the word digest, and how this gave us a clue to the meaning. Use the picture. What do you think digestive, which is a word that describes, or an adjective, means?
So if you remember, scholars, we had been talking in Foundations before the break about adjectives when we were reading. So adjectives were words that described a noun, okay? A person, place, thing, or animal, right? So digestive is going to be describing the system, okay? So think about what the system, what does digestive mean? What is that system doing?
Since digest means to break down food into materials the body can use, Digestive could be about the breaking down of food in the body. This means that digestive is an adjective. It must mean that it has to do with some sort of process of breaking down food the body can use. Let's look at the title again, the digestive system. Specifically, the term digestive system. We are going to continue to study the front cover and help build our understanding around the term digestive system. Let's take a moment to think about what we have learned about the meaning of system and the meaning of digest and digestive while examining the front cover a little closer. We see a human body right here. This is a portion of the human body. We see certain parts are colored in. Maybe these are the parts working together in the digestive system. We also see an arrow pointing to these parts, and that arrow is here. It looks like it's pointing to a group of organs. That can mean the digestive system is a group of organs working together to break down food. We think the digestive system relates to how your body breaks down food and how food goes through these parts of the body. To help us track our learning about the digestive system, we are going to write down some information on a graphic organizer. You can do this in...
Okay, scholars, you can find that graphic organizer in your workbook. It is actually the very first page. It's handout 1A, okay? So if you have your workbook, you can find it in your book, page 1A. Have this ready. You don't need to tear it out. I would keep all of your pages in your book because we will need to go back to them later as we continue through the module to use for reference. Okay, if you don't have your blue book, don't worry. You can just kind of draw this box out in your notebook. You don't need to get super detailed yet, but just draw the box and the headings.
Vocabulary journal or a piece of paper if you don't have a vocabulary journal. Copy down this graphic organizer. Please don't worry about making this picture perfect. Just do the best you can. When you're creating your graphic organizer, I first want you to start with the definition of the digestive system. The definition of a digestive system are the parts of the body that work together to break down food. You're then going to write the title, Facts/Characteristics, and leave that box blank. We're going to work on that together in just a few moments. Next, you're going to go to the picture. Please only spend a few moments. Notice how this kind of looks like a piece of spaghetti as it goes down. Notice this looks a little like a rectangle with just some squiggly lines inside. And if you look at this closely, it's almost like a little bit like the letter M, maybe just a little bit. Hopefully that helps you as you try to draw this picture for your learning. Finally, you're going to write the title Vocabulary and leave this area blank. Please take a moment to pause the video and create this graphic organizer. Please, once again, don't spend too much time on the picture. What's more important right now is that you have the definition of the digestive system, each of the headings, and a quick picture to help you associate your learning. When you're ready to move on, unpause the video and we will complete this graphic organizer together. As I look back at the cover of the digestive system, I noted that one of the characteristics is it is a group of organs. See that here? I'm going to show you how I copied that characteristic down on my graphic organizer. Notice under facts and characteristics, I wrote down what I noted about this being a group of organs. I also noticed that it breaks down food. And I saw that right here. So I'm also going to add that to my graphic organizer. Thirdly, I noted that its parts work together in a system. So I added that to my graphic organizer. And finally, I noticed that it must send food through the body. And I added that here as well. Pause the video now to write down the facts and characteristics we have learned so far. When you're ready to move on, unpause the video and we'll continue the lesson. Throughout this module, we will continue to add to this reference page as you learn more about the digestive system. So try to keep it handy as we will continue with it in future lessons. Let's think about all we did during this lesson. We read some books about food, we discussed our favorite foods, we examined art that featured food, and learned about the digestive system. How does food nourish us? That was our essential question and will remain our essential question throughout this module.
Okay, scholars, if you didn't catch that, take just a moment and look at this question here. What is something you hope to learn as you explore the essential questions? So what is something, as we start to learn about food and how it nourishes us, in your notebook, take about 1 minute and write down a sentence or two about things you hope that you can learn during this module about food and your body. You can pause the video and write those down now. When you are done, we are going to move back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so we learned some vocabulary words about the digestive system. Now we're going to move on. If you look at this picture, most of you had been all reading during small group time with your teachers in your classroom over the last quarter before the break. We would stop and read some little books during small group time, right? Okay, these books are really good at helping us build our knowledge outside of the books that we read in our modules for Wit and Wisdom. These books were usually helped us learn a little bit more in greater detail of things that applied to. So if you think back to when we were talking about civil rights, and we were learning about how African American civil rights were being taken advantage of. And then we also looked at some books that showed us how other groups of people's civil rights were being affected when we read these books as a small group. Okay, so I would like us to continue working on that. So a couple times a week, we're going to look at these books and see if we can come up with a few ideas about their parts. Okay, these books are kind of fun. So today we're going to read one that's called The Inside Scoop. Okay, while you are reading that, well, I'm going to put it on the overhead so that we can read it together. Okay, I want you to be thinking about, is this book informative or narrative? Ooh, so think about what those two words mean, and we'll come back to that. And I want you to also think about, what is the main topic of this book in particular? Okay, so 2 questions to think about while I am reading that book. Let's see, I'm going to switch to having my camera on for my overhead. This should be interesting. We'll see how this works. It should be, oh, there we go. Okay, you should see the book on the screen now. Let's see if I can make this screen. There we go. Okay. Try something new here today. Okay, here you can see I picked the book, The Inside Scoop. I think that's pretty clear. Okay. So here on our cover, The Inside Scoop, written by Kate Oliver, illustrations by Nicholas Anazares. The Inside Scoop. So we can see here, it looks like it's going to be something about food already. You can see that pretty clearly. Here we go. Okay. What is that smell? Your mouth waters as you grab your plate. Pancakes! You take a bite. Where does that fluffy pancake go? Let's join it as it goes into your mouth and through your body for the inside scoop on its travels. Munch! Teeth crush and grind the pancake into teeny bits. Spit or saliva helps us to break down the food. Your tongue tosses this wet clump to the back of your throat. Some pictures there, some diagrams of your mouth and where your food might go. Gulp. The clump presses into a round, stretchy tube called the esophagus. In just a few seconds, it is down the tube. Swirl and whirl. The clump lands in your stomach, where it flip-flops for about 4 hours. Think of your stomach as a blender. Its liquids mix and churn the pancake into mushy stew. Ooh, that sounds kind of gross, huh? Drip, drip. The mushy pancake stew seeps from the stomach into a long, skinny tube, the small intestine. It looks like a snug snake coiled up in a cramped space. Pump, pump. The small intestine soaks nutrients from what's left of the pancake into its fuzzy walls. The nutrients travel in the bloodstream to every part of the body. What's left of your pancake at the end of this twisted tunnel? Not much. If you could straighten out the small intestine, it would be 22 feet long. Oh my goodness, that is very long. That would be almost probably as wide as our entire classroom. Can you imagine that's all coiled up inside of your body? A brown glob leaves the folded small intestine after about 4 hours. It slips into a shorter tube, the large intestine. Slurp. The large intestine sucks water out of the glob. What is left is waste or poop. The poop moves down into your rectum and waits there for you to eject it. Wow, that sounds interesting. The large intestine is wider but much shorter than the small intestine. Okay, so here's the small intestine, and here's the large intestine going along the outside. Finally, plop. This is the end of the line for your pancake. So what's inside the scoop on its travels? Oh, sorry. So what's the inside scoop on its travels? Inside your body, all parts of your digestive system work non-stop. The process takes all day or even longer. The food you digest produces the energy that you need to grow. Okay. And then we've talked about this before. On the back page, there's usually more information. So this is going to give us even more details. We will take time to read that at a later time. But for now, I want you to go back and think about the last 2 questions that we talked about. I wanted you to think about while we were reading our book. Is this book informative or narrative? Remember, an informative book, we have read some of those before. An informative book might be something like the March to Washington. It might be like the Buffalo Were Back. It might be like the Plains Indians books. Those are all informative books. A narrative book, remember, is like a story. So like the Pioneer book we read with the girl and her family moving, or the Legend of Bluebonnet. Those are all narrative books. So is this book informative or narrative? If you said that it is informative, you would be correct, because it's giving us information about your digestive system. What is the main topic of the book? Well, let's think about the main topic. What was this book about? We learned that the person in the book ate a pancake, and we followed the travels of that pancake all the way through the girl's body while she was at school for a whole day. So we saw her eating the pancake, and we saw it go to her stomach and through her intestines, and then finally, when she went potty at the end of the day, the pancake left her body. Okay, so the main topic of the book, if you said how your body digests food, you would also be correct. Okay. One of the words that we wrote down today in our journal was digests, right? So how your body breaks down food to use it. I'd like for you to take your last thing today, take just a moment and jot down. Look at this picture. How does this image help you better understand the main topic? So take just a moment, pause the video, and write just a sentence or two about how this image helps you better understand the topic of the book. Remember, we said the topic was how your body digests food. So when you see this picture, how does it help you understand that topic? Okay, last thing I wanted to remind you, don't forget sometime today to do your fluency homework. Okay, so your fluency, you can either find it here, I'll show it on the next screen, or you can look back into your workbook and you can find it on 2A. Right? So you can look for 2A in your workbook. Read that 3 to 5 times with someone to give you some feedback on if you are using all of the appropriate phrasing, expression, volume, and speed. Remember, we want to get to be better readers and be more interesting to listen to. Here is the passage in case you don't have your book. You can pause the video and look at that passage. Lastly, let's look back on what we learned today before we go. Which piece of artwork was your favorite and why? So we wrote about that. You should be able to answer that question. Why? What is the job of the digestive system? What did we learn about the digestive system today and what it does? It breaks down the food, right, for our body to give us energy and help us live a healthy life. What do you hope to learn about in this module? So you should have written down or talked to your partner about some things that you hope to learn in this module going forward. And lastly, what was the main topic of this book, The Inside Scoop? So our other little story, what was the main idea of that book? We talked about being how your body digests the food. Okay, make sure that you complete your exit ticket. It should be simply filling in a lot of the answers that we already did together during our lesson. So you shouldn't have to do a whole lot of extra thinking today. Okay, stand up and do a little dance to celebrate all of your hard work. You guys did such an amazing job staying with me today. Thank your learning partner for helping you, and make sure to practice your fluency passage sometime later today. Have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, second grade. If you have any questions, here's my contact information for learning partners. I am happy for feedback on our videos and how your lessons are going. This is a trial and error at this point, so if you have any suggestions for improvement or something that maybe would help you better help your scholar learn these lessons, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or give me a phone call, and we will talk about it, and I'm happy to make any changes that we need to help our learning. Have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.